I'm gonna go live. And we're live.
Oh, are we supposed to talk now?
Fuck it. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Hey, Jeff McKinney.
Yeah, there it is. Just got the email that We Like Drinking is live.
Wow.
Everybody takes drink. Oh yeah, it's a hashtag National Red Wine Day too.
Yeah.
Today?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm glad I brought a
Did
beer.
you see Jeff McKinney commented on a post from us from 2016 on Twitter today?
No, I didn't.
I think you
Nothing
were
like
really
keeping up with Twitter.
you were really fired up about an episode, and that was probably back when we would just tag individual people that we thought would really like this one. And you tagged our friend Jeff, and today Jeff comments like something like, I can't wait. Oh.
That's awesome. Hey,
Just imagine sitting on that joke for 2 years. That was fucking brilliant.
That's patience, man.
playing the long con there.
Yeah.
All right. Is everything recording? Are my 8 different ways of recording this episode all working here? No, I haven't started Zencaster. All right, so starting Zencaster.
I'm taking it down in shorthand.
Okay, perfect.
I've got my stenographer behind me. My pocket stenographer. You can't see him.
So also to Jeff McKinney, we are working diligently on Mr. Sother Teague. So we're getting closer to get him scheduled on the show. So thanks for connecting us. He's like in the middle of opening a bar or something like that. So his time is really tough to get. But we are working on it. All right, I'm looking for McKinney's post. I got to get through the 300 other tags.
Here, let me find it. I think he was saying, like, I'm going to skip work to watch this. Let's see here.
Why does this news seem so old?
Yeah. October 19th, 2016. Holy shit, this episode. Prepare yourself for a mess, listeners. You've been warned, and you tagged Diabetic Rage, Jeffrey McKinney, Heron, and Jeff is Rad, and Jay Ruyak. And the Prince of Apathy writes, I kind of want to skip work to watch. Hey, Methyl Ethel, how you doing?
Oh, Methyl Ethel's watching.
Methyl Ethel, are you the same person in the tavern that wanted to get into the Fantasy Football League this year? I'll wait.
Okay, we got this. We got this. We got this. We got that recording. We got that recording. I think we're all set. All right. You guys ready?
What are we doing?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, I think we're doing a show.
I'm going to hit some buttons and see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm just going to hit them all at once and see what happens.
But anyways,
Podcasting for the
hey,
first
Meth.
time, the 242nd time.
Meth, I'm so sorry we missed you. I was really late, like starting the stuff I need to do for the league this year. So next year, I want you personally to just be on my ass in the tavern and just like beginning of August, just remind me, like, get that shit together and get you in the league, because obviously we want more people in. All right.
Can we just throw somebody out?
I've been kicking people out, like, systematically.
All right.
Yeah,
Honestly,
you gave the Pope the boot.
If you two weren't on the show, I'd have kicked you out already.
Yeah, you'll be wishing I wasn't in there about
I think
3
what
weeks in.
happened just now was Eccles was volunteering. He's like, I'll leave.
Yeah, I finished above you last year. I should just take that as a victory and walk away.
Every once in a while, it's a game of chance more than skill.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Next year, Methel. Next year.
Here we go.
Hi guys, my name is Christy Norman. I'm a Somm at Spago Beverly Hills. I have a line of Somm apparel. I'm coming out with a wine course for beginners online. And this is the We Like Drinking podcast, where you never drink alone.
At the sound of the tone, the official We Like Drinking time will be 5 o'clock. Commence consumption.
Two, three, four.
This week on episode 242 of the We Like Drinking podcast, we'll be discussing cyberbullying booze hounds, great hop or pop culture reference, and the greatest lemonade stand of all time. So crack open your beers, uncork that wine, and let's get drinking! Oh, man. I tell you what, Jeff is riding the horse like there is no tomorrow. No tomorrow. And the thing is he's about as tall as a jockey. So, I mean...
I'm sitting here trying to do my Mick Jagger dance, and you're making me laugh.
It was a good Nick.
We're gonna sing go with go and be mine.
It was so good. He locked up his computer. That was awesome. So cheers, my podcast listeners, and welcome to Happy Hour 242 of the only two-time award-winning topical beer and wine education podcast focusing on fun. We're having a lot of it so far, man. Jeff's riding the horse. John was smashing the guitar. He was jamming so hard before the show. It's been crazy night. This is what happens when we start 30 minutes late, I guess. So by now, I'm sure you realize that you are just listening to just podcast platinum with the We Like Drinking podcast. So make sure you don't miss an episode ever again. Subscribe to the show. Visit welikedrinking.com/subscribe to find the button that'll complete your life. Basically, is all it's going to do.
I've got my hand on the button.
And
we gotta go. We've had podcast gold, now we're to podcast platinum. We got to get the podcast rhodium.
But that's in 3 weeks.
I like Berkeleyum myself.
So you've heard us all talking. Let's get to know us a little bit better and find out who we're drinking with. We've got our wine blogger, Jeff Solomon.
Shalom, everybody.
We have our beer brewer, John Ruyak.
Hello.
And I am your host, Jeff Eccles. And tonight we have no guest. It's not a drinking episode, so they don't happen very often, but it's just
nuttiness.
It's just we just get to cut loose and see what happens. So let's find out what we're tipping back tonight. John Ruyak, what's in your glass?
I've got my extra IPA, my recipe that's almost gone. We're on the last keg.
Better get
but
brewing.
You know what? We've decided to lock down like 12 different recipes, and that's it. That's all we're going to be going with through the next 6 months because just can't keep up.
There you go. And this is not one of them?
Unfortunately, no. It was some special order hops that we ordered, and so I don't have any more of them anyway. So, but it's a shame that it's hitting its peak right as it's running out.
Right as you drink it.
You're right, you drank it.
That's how it goes. Jeff Solomon, what's in your glass on # National Red Wine Day?
On the hashtag National Red Wine Day, I am drinking from the Beer Buddies Project. This is a collaboration between Pizza Port Brewing Company and Modern Times Beer. This is the Gentle Reminders India Pale Ale, coming in at 7.2% alcohol, brewed and canned by Pizza Port Brewing in Carlsbad, California. That's where my buddy C lives. And speaking of the sea, there's a bunch of cool surfboards on this, and there's kind of like a Saved by the Bell motif. I've got a feeling a lot of folks in our demographic would be stoked to find a can of this. And I don't know how many are left. It seems like it's more summertime centric, but man, this IPA, as clear as a bell, makes you want to say hell yeah. This is delicious. Hopped with Simcoe, Nelson, Crystal, and John. What's that other one that I can't pronounce? Matuika hops. This is really just tropical and floral and fun, and I'm liking it quite a bit.
Awesome. My beer's clear too. I can see myself through the glass. Look at that.
I'm actually really loving the anti-hazy backlash that we're getting. Like, we're just getting some awesome, like, high quality beers, and I'm loving it. Loving it.
Awesome. Okay. Since it is hashtag National Red Wine Day, I am drinking some red wine here. I have this, I'm going to butcher the name, so don't bully me over it. This is the Monte Bernardi. This is a Zingarella 2014. This is an IGT coming out of the Chianti region. So they're just not even playing. They're going with 40% Cab, 40% Merlot, 15% Cab Franc, and 5% Colorino. So they just pour a little in for their homies from the what's grown in Italy. The rest is all New World.
Oh wow,
this is some funky Col Medina on the nose. I tell you what, it's some earthy foot stank BO going on in this thing. And I mean that in the best possible way.
I mean, I'm wondering, like, is it flawed? Is it corked?
I was a little bit worried at first that it might be corked. It wasn't real mildewy, but it was pretty rotten on the nose. But the flavor is on point. A little bit earthy, good fruit though, and the nose has lightened up a little bit. It's getting a little bit more, but there is a little bit of that cellar kind of.
It doesn't taste like you're drinking it out of your old hockey skate.
Yeah, it doesn't taste like it's gone through an armpit or anything like that. It just smells that way, or it did. It doesn't anymore. So,
dude, total weird side note. Do you remember like the smelly? Do you remember the smelly markers when you were younger, and it was like blueberries and root beer and stuff like that? Parker just got a set of smelly markers that smell like stinky stuff. It's like scallions and old shoes and like
really?
moldy sandwiches.
Is there
I'm just saying, like,
earwax, like that jelly bean from Harry Potter.
Dude, all I'm saying is it's not that I want my kid to start like drinking. He's 5, but I envision that Zingarella that you're drinking right there, like my son would love.
I would like to see that marker.
Awesome, Dad. This smells like my markers.
Dude, check it out, bro.
Oh, so listeners, hopefully if you're listening to this one, you're a judge for the podcast awards. You listened to last week's show and graded us on that one, because this one's gonna spiral pretty quick. I'm just gonna
out of control pretty quickly.
There's nothing here to keep us on task. So no, it's all good. It's all good.
Oh, and I did just want to give a shout out to Methyl Ethel, who is watching live and commenting at welikedrinking.com/show. He is drinking a fresh growler of Forest and Maine's Banjo Cucumber Saison, coming in at 5%. And at 5%, and with this show, you need to drink the whole growler, and I think it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, this one's clocking in at 13 and a half. So, cheers.
Okay.
All right. Let's get into the show. I guess we already are, but let's get into the meat of the show. John's going to educate us with a little bit we like to call
wine, beer, or pop culture reference. So you know the drill, guys. I'm going to give these two guys a term, and they're going to try to guess whether it's a wine term, a beer term, or some sort of weird pop culture reference. So,
Shadowruns.
okay, so this week's term is, you ready?
You're ready.
You're ready.
How do you spell that?
No, that's not it. Are you ready for the term?
Yes.
Doppelstück. Doppelstück.
Can you spell that, please?
I certainly can. And I actually looked up how you pronounce one of these letters. So it's spelled Doppelstu with an umlaut CK. Doppelstück.
Doppelstück.
You got that written down, Solomon? So
Yeah.
when you see a U with an umlaut, you're supposed to start the sound with, like, you're going to say a double E, but then you round your lips. So it's Doppelstück.
Doppelstück. Okay. I guess I'll start first, right?
Sure.
You know, I'm not sure if we put like the little E label for explicit on our shows. But what I love about German is that if you speak English, there are a lot of like Germanic origins to words, and sometimes like somebody will be speaking German around you, and all of a sudden you'll have no idea what they're saying, and then all of a sudden there's total clarity, and you're like, wait, what? Huh? And Doppelstück is one of those things. I can't believe I'm saying that. Okay. When you are doppelstückt, that means that you are in a jam, but literally it means you're double fucked. Doppelstückt.
No, it's not stooped. It's stoop. Stook, not
Don't tell me I'm wrong before the end of the game. That's my answer. You're double fucked if you're doppelstückt.
Yeah,
in a jam.
I liked your in a jam comment. It was, yeah. I was initially going in a similar route, but I may not have been in a jam, but in a different way. But I am going to say that this is a beer term, and it is specifically, it's some kind of brewing procedure.
Okay. Doppelstück is a large oak container that holds 2,400 liters or 634 gallons. So I got this from a German wine glossary, but it could potentially be used for beer as well.
There you go.
Doppelstück.
Well, you doppelstückt me on that one.
You got stooped.
All right, so we've hit the low point of the show. We can go nowhere up now.
Yeah, screw that. We're going to talk about lemonade.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, it's about to get all kinds of better with a bit we like to call Booze News. We discuss interesting, noteworthy, or sometimes some doppelstuking. So let's do this. John Ruyak. I don't know which. Let's start with the child first.
Okay, so Dateline, Brigham City, Utah. Apparently, some neighbors were upset. There was a young lad who had a standout, and he was selling ice cold beer. And they were quite upset by this, and they called the police. And the police investigated, and they found out that, yes, the young man from a distance was selling ice cold beer, but in between cold and beer, it said root.
Gotta read the fine print. Gotta read the fine print.
Yeah, gotta read the fine print. Yep. Signing contracts or buying root beer from some kid on the corner in Brigham City, Utah. I'm not sure why you wanted to sell ice cold root beer and lemonade. That seems like, that's like way too ambitious for kids these days. But at least the kid, had some marketing going on. This kid's got a future. What do you think, Solomon?
Well, I think that this is the ultimate page out of Sun Tzu's book Art of War, where you're thinking like 5, 6, 7 steps ahead, right? This kid just laid out the perfect front for an actual speakeasy, right? So he goes out onto the street with his lemonade and his root beer, and he's got the funny little sign and all the nosy, I don't know what you call yourself if you're from Utah, like a Uten or a Utahn, but that they ain't having that shit. So of course they're gonna call the cops. And the cops, when they get there, they're like, oh, how innocent, how playful. And like they're posing for pictures with the kid and everything. They didn't even bother to look inside his ice chest. They didn't even bother to see what was inside. I mean, it's right in front of his house, right? So the way that it works is this. People roll up and they go, oh, where's the beer? Oh, darn, it's just root beer. And then when the kid sees their disappointment, he goes, psst, I do have real beer also. And by the way, do you want some weed? Like, that's what's happening. That's how you look. That's how you groom a future entrepreneur. That's how you get the next Gary Vaynerchuk, the next April Wachtel, is ultimate marketing like this. People are going to go out of their way to go to that kid's root beer stand, and when they show up, he's selling weed, bro. He's selling weed.
Oh man. So Eccles, what's your take on this one?
My take on this is living in an HOA kind of neighborhood. This is such the problem. Like the neighbors that couldn't even bother to go up and see what was happening before they dialed 911, because it was they probably didn't even call the non-emergency line. They probably went straight for 911 to call it in. If they had just done a drive-by and seen that he was selling root beer, then they could have awed it and moved on. But no, they saw it, were so doppelstuked about it that they had to grab the phone and call the cops immediately. And this is just the fucking problem with some of these neighborhoods, is that there's no interaction with your neighbors, so that if something like this does happen, you can go by and say, oh, it's root beer Johnny. No, let's be honest. This kid's name was Kyle. Kyle.
He looked like a Kyle. He looked like a Chad, maybe.
maybe a Chad. Give me a growler of your finest root beer, Chad. So,
well, I'll tell you,
know-
what, the kid did look shady. Like he looked like a regular Dennis the Menace.
he had a 5 o'clock shadow. Tattoos.
It's really a front for the mid-morning rave he had going on in his parents' basement, right?
Oh man, shit, dude. He that kid was bringing the hard stuff. Like he had some Red Bulls, dude. It was intense. Sorry, my apologies.
Yeah, next
to
year,
all the
next year it's
Utes
pink
out.
lemonade.
My apologies to all the Utes that are listening to a podcast about drinking. My apologies.
He was mixing some Red Bulls and White Claw.
Damn, getting crunk.
Okay, John, what was your take on it?
Well, it brings back a story that, when I was a kid, my parents went to Washington, D.C. with some friends, and they came back and I was sitting there with my parents, and they were talking to my grandparents at the time, and they were in Washington, D.C. in August, and they were sweating bullets, and from way far away, they see this big, huge sign that says cold beer, and they're like, hoofing it towards the sign that said cold beer, and they get there and it says cold root beer. It's tiny little letters, root in the middle of cold and beer. So it brought back a memory for me from my parents telling that story like 40 years ago.
Funny story, the people that owned that place was the kid's grandparents.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay, so kudos to that kid. Kudos to the cops. I think they all bought a round of root beers for each other.
Oh,
The
there
neighbor
you
go pound sand for all I care. Okay, John, let's just do the next one without the lead in.
Meaning,
So we won't talk about how. Okay, so apparently Amazon is looking to get back into the wine industry. They're looking to start selling wine again, and as part of that, they are going to be selling wine from local retail establishments as part of the ton of the liquor licenses that they need to get in some states, including California. That was the story I was going to talk about, but then John found one that's even better.
well, the fact that, in California, in order to sell wine online, you have to have a brick and mortar establishment to do that from. So apparently Amazon set up a brick and mortar wine store as a front with no intention of actually selling to the public. And seems like the California Liquor Board kind of caught on to that and they're in a little bit of trouble. I think, Mr. Bezos is just kind of stretching it out a little bit. So, that's Amazon's the devil. I think it hurts a lot of business. I think it's helped a lot of businesses and things like that to some degree. But I mean, there's just so much wrong with that business model that it makes me ill to think that I ordered something from them last week. So yeah, I mean, they're stretching the limits. I mean, how many other people are doing the same stuff? It's a tough thing out there. There's some issues here. I think they're just kind of BS, but hey, you got to follow the law.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, what do you think? I mean, there's no loophole here. They need to have a real brick and mortar store where they're letting people walk in and walk out the door with product.
Yeah, and I mean, kudos. I believe it was W. Blake Gray that did the legwork on this, where he got the address of the supposed liquor store. It was one of their warehouses, and he went by, and there was no storefront, there was no business hours, there was no door, there was no booze. And I mean, they're getting busted with their hands and feet and trying to shuttlecock their way into the cookie jar here. This is blatant, being based on the story, right? I mean, we don't obviously have all the information, but Yeah, what were you gonna say, John?
I was just, how hard would it be for them to just open up a small store and have somebody work it from, I don't know, 10 to 3?
Yeah,
right?
How hard would it be for Amazon, whose whole appeal is, hey, you don't have to talk to anybody. You don't have to be social. You can just order some shit in your underwear and be naked when you pick it up off of your front porch. How hard is it for them to open an actual storefront where you have to talk to people? Really fucking hard.
You mean the place that now owns Whole Foods?
Yeah.
Well, nobody talks you to Whole Foods either, right?
Well, no, they're building that model out so where you just put it in your bag and walk out and it charges you for it.
I guess what I'm saying is, like, you know, I don't like seeing huge, especially when it's like a huge corporation trying to like skirt around the law to get things going their way. But then in the other sense, it's like I just get so frustrated with all these ridiculous laws that need to be in place just because it happens to be surrounding booze. Like I can't necessarily fault their dishonesty here. Okay, I can fault them for being dishonest, but like I understand why anybody would want to try to go that route. Like, that's what I get.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you there. I understand the frustration with it, but it's still the law, and there's still a company that has deep pocketbooks that can afford to follow the rules, and they've got the money that they can work on actually changing the laws. And would probably have a pretty good go of making that happen. So they really should be doing what they're saying they're doing. You know, it's not like they are claiming ignorance or they just didn't do it. They're like, oh yeah, we got a shop. It's right down there in the corner. Just don't go by or anything. Just order it online. We'll have a drone fly it into you. You don't want to.
Yeah. By the way, I just have to say, I'm sorry. I was a little bit out of it for a second as we were watching this. I got a little bit starstruck because our friend Christy Norman is now in the chat, and she was saying that she was surprised, like, what, they couldn't get just one employee to sit there,
right? With like 1 6-pack of Pabst Blue Ribbon is all they got for sale. You know.
And a case of White Claw.
It says beer for sale. It doesn't say root or anything. Go get that kid from Utah. I mean, come on.
Please get that kid. Get that kid a job so he stopped selling weed to his neighbors.
Hello, Christy. Thank you for joining us to watch the show tonight.
Oh, she might have something to say about this next thing.
She might.
She said sup with like 9 P's at the end. So she'll be in the chat for a while.
Interesting thing about Christy, for every P, that's 1 glass of wine that she's had tonight. So all right. So anything else on Amazon there?
Yeah, screw those guys.
Yeah,
but I'll order from them the next time I need something I can't find anywhere.
Yeah,
screw them and all their packages that arrive at my door every single day. You're taking all of my money, Amazon.
Damn it!
Quit making things so damn convenient.
All right, let's move on. Okay, so we're gonna get a little bit serious for a second. I'm sure it'll be serious for a second and then it's all going to fall apart because that's how we do things here. But our good friend Christy Norman put a bit on her Instagram story last night or today, I can't remember when it was, about a recent experience she had. Of course, she handled it like a pro, but there was, and I'm going to be real high level with this, but there's an individual that's in the wine industry, a salesperson for a pretty sizable distributor. that was using a pseudonym and is going out and trolling wine people online. And then apparently there's a decent sized Facebook group where people do this and then they go share screenshots of what they did. And, you know, Christy was like, well, fuck these guys and don't be a dick and help each other out, you know, like logic. But I kind of wanted to take Christy's story and kind of retell it and just talk about it just with our listeners and with you guys, that this shit's not okay. Like, you know, cyberbullying of any kind is just unacceptable. Trolling is not cool. I mean, there's a little kind of piece of it that can be kind of entertaining, but really it's not. You're being a dick. You're hurting somebody else's feelings. And in the case of the wine industry, God, if the trolls wanted to hit our show, they would have a field day, because we don't pronounce stuff right all the time. We're not the most knowledgeable crew, but we still love what we do. We still love drinking wine. We still love drinking beer. We still love talking about it. And we shouldn't be drink shamed for that, is my opinion. So I just wanted to get your take. I know, Solomon, you're a big troll. You're out trolling. You're out. Go ahead, Jeff. You're muted, brother.
Fuck. Well, here I am. So, yeah, you disrespect me and nobody even hears my comeback. Yeah, I mean, I do have to say, in this ultimate age of information that we are in right now, and even more so in an age of disinformation, I would say that we're in a brilliant time in terms of like where you can search for what is true and what is real, and you can really find like verifiable answers and truth, and we have access like we've never had before. And when I think about the internet in the age that it's in right now, it's still like in its fucking infancy. And I felt like I heard somebody analogize that like the internet is really like an 11-year-old right now. And I see that. And honestly, like it just really disappoints me as a strapping young 40-year-old man, as I look around like at peers my age who just are fucking trolls and they don't even know it. Like I there's a lot of that shit where they don't realize like what assholes they're being. Like it's upsetting to me because it's like, you know what, our Facebook and our Twitter accounts, what they really are is, it's not us. These are our avatars. This is what we want other people to think of us. And it's upsetting to see that what some people really want everyone to think of them as is the ultimate asshole, where you care more about not even necessarily being right. I think some people like, they have no concern for what is true or for what is real, but what they do have concern for is owning somebody else,
right,
and fucking winning, right? And this whole concept of winning is like such garbage. I hear people sometimes like analogize that like life is this competition and you're either a fucking shark or a fish. And that's bullshit, dude. Like we are the most commensalistic species on the planet, and we are so reliant on each other that it just fucking, it bums me out to see people drag each other down. And I don't fault anybody for looking from the outside in on the wine industry in general, which sometimes has an air of pretension that isn't necessarily deserved. Like sometimes it's really a misrepresentation of just people not understanding like a different vernacular, which means like different words. Like I guess what I'm saying, yes, I'm sorry. I guess what I'm saying here is like fucking when it comes to things like that, like how anybody could start a group like that and actually like get people excited to be a part of like a shitty community, like that's just so nuts to me, right? And it's like, you know, I hate it when I see people like, you know, there are particular targets that are out there, right? That you see wine people go for. They go for the Christy Normans and they go for the Madeline Pucketts because they're younger than you and they're pretty and they're females and it's a bunch of fucking dudes that just don't fucking get it.
Mm-hmm.
Back the fuck off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I have to say.
I got a couple in my head too, and I don't think they're necessarily trolls, but they're just so condescending to anybody that doesn't agree with them. And I don't even know if they know it, and it's funny because I'll see something. I remember this one so vividly. Like I saw him being a real condescending a-hole to a good female friend of mine, and I was like, dude, step the fuck off.
Yeah, back off.
and then I get comments coming on the behind the scenes. It's like, oh, he does all that, and then he reaches out to him on DMs, like trying to like talk to him, and I'm like, wait, what? Like, I mean, douche canoe galore. And so
wait, that's the dude's handle, douche canoe. Well,
and you know,
I know I Russia, if you're listening, I think douche canoe is still open as a
and it can be, here's another thing, it can be tough. Actually, it's not tough, but we live in a bunch of different circles, right? And so, you know, the way John and I treat our hockey friends is just mean. Like it's just mean.
It's cutthroat.
But we're all okay with it in that circle, you know? And so there's times where you have to know who you're speaking to. And especially if you're speaking on public forums, I mean, you really need to bring your high class, not your douchebaggery.
Well, here's the thing. If it's my turn. Are
Yeah.
you okay?
No, I have no. Go ahead.
Well, here's what I've seen. And we have the tavern, and then I'm part of a couple of other groups that revolve around herpetology. One specifically for New Mexico and another one for the entire United States. And what I see trolling is a reaction of two things. Intransigent ignorance, and that is on the part of a person who may not be knowledgeable, and yet they think they're an expert because they've read a couple of things and they're not. And then impatience on the part of the troll, someone who doesn't have the grace or the patience to walk a person through correcting them in a gentle way.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes from, you know, one of the biggest frustrations knowledgeable people in herpetology is that, well, my uncle was chased by a cottonmouth and like there was like 15 of them and they attacked him. Okay, your uncle was drunk and was telling stories. That just doesn't happen. It's just an impossibility. I don't, you know, your uncle's an asshole. Or the other one is bull snakes and rattlesnakes intermingle and then they have babies together. Well, that's like a giraffe meeting with a cat. They're that far apart, right? I know they're both snakes. Well, cats and giraffes are both mammals. So bull snakes and rattlesnakes don't mate, just doesn't happen, and they don't bite tires on cars and puncture them and go give people flats. So I mean, there's this whatever you're talking about, whether it's wine, whether it's beer, whether it's snakes or crochet, there's folk knowledge that's just bullshit, right? And then there's people that are ignorant enough to carry those prejudices forward. But then the trolls are just so ignorant that they can't summon the patience and the gentle knowledge to bring that forth, and they just want to. They think they're know-it-alls, and they're not, right? So there's a couple things going on here. Sometimes, trolls are assholes, yeah, and I've been trolled, and it's just dumb. Like, well, I don't have time for that. But other people, especially when they're getting into something, they have to be open to learning something new as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a two-way street sometimes.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. We need to get on Photoshop and get this Jacat or Jurat, a giraffe going.
Yeah, that's all I could think about. Because
Should it be a Cataf or a Jurat? I think I
mean,
Jurat.
We do share like 50% of our DNA with a banana. So I think that it's possible. It's possible. It's just not ethical.
Oh God. Okay.
I believe if you were like within a football field's length of that going on, you'd get arrested. So is that.
So Christy, I don't know if you're still watching or not, but thank you for sharing that situation that you went through.
She called it a gyrate, but
oh yeah, there's so much more we could do with that. But thank you for sharing that, and thank you for taking that clown to task the way you did and the way you handled it. It's proud of you, sister. Love you. Okay, so now that we've gotten our that out of the way, oh my goodness. Well, if we're fighting the cyber bullies, John's finishing his growler. Let's see. We've talked about Utah, Amazon, and how bad they are. We've pretty much
we got catch stooping giraffes on this show.
Yeah, there's no way we're winning the podcast award this year. That's what I'm saying.
No.
Well, since we're not going to win that, we may as well just shut the lights out and call.
Last call.
Last call. Time to clean house and lock the doors. You know what we do here, folks. We're looking for a little bit of help from you. Follow us on the social medias. Follow us on Twitter, where I check it like once every 5 days. We Like Drinking 1. That's number 1, unless Jeff tells me something interesting happened from 3 years ago. You can follow us on Instagram at We Like Drinking, and on Facebook at We Like Drinking as well. Or join us at our favorite place to hang out, our private Facebook group called The Tavern. You can get there by searching up We Like Drinking Tavern on Facebook, or make it really easy. Go to welikeDrinking.com/tavern. Let's go with Jeff Solomon. You're always good for the apples. If the people want to leave us a review of the show, where can they go do that?
Well, you are probably listening to us on the greatest podcasting platform of all time, Apple Podcasts. It's easy. It's convenient. Its algorithm never sucks. And since you are, why don't you go ahead and scroll down, find where you can leave us a big old fat 5-star rating and an honest review of how amazing our show is. It really helps the show out. And I actually I implore this of you as well. If you've left a review before, rewrite your review.
Has anybody done that before?
I think someone has.
Well, Will Tate Johnson does
didn't
every
they go
once in a
from
while.
4.5 to 5? Did someone go from 4.5 to 5 stars?
Well, I think that guy is actually a tastemaker because I think now part of the Apple algorithm is it's all about fresh reviews, even if somebody like rewrote an old review. So, you liked us enough to do it once, add an extra exclamation point at the end.
Yeah, I was going to say add a comma someplace.
Come on.
Add your hashtag for best name for a giraffe cat combination or human banana. John Ruyak, if the people have followed us on the socials, if they've left us a review multiple times on the Apple Podcasts, and they just want to do more, what else can they do to help support the show?
That more would be to go to welikedrinking.com/pledge and give us your life savings.
Please don't do that. Please don't.
If you choose to do it, if you press that button and just transfer your entire 401k into us, that we could just like travel the world and put stickers up in weird places like other people that listen to the show. But for as little as $1 a month, you can up your guacamole game. You
can do that for $1.
Not for $1.
Well,
like $5.
That's $5. Yeah, you need $5 to up your guacamole game, and you can get T-shirts, stickers, access to how to carbonate beer at Lizard Tail Brewing.
Yep.
After
parties are always fun.
Yeah.
72 awful.
You can learn some dad jokes by giving us $1 a month.
And I think what I'll do in honor of welikedrinking.com/pledge is I think I'm going to write an actual pledge of pod allegiance. So even if you can't donate any money, you could pledge your pod allegiance to us.
Do we have to hold our hand over our hearts, or no, I don't want to do that.
You can put your hand somewhere, but this is a family show.
Someone's going to troll me if I do that.
Oh, there's so many potential names for this episode. So you can also find the show notes for this episode with all the links to the stories or mentions we had at welikedrinking.com/episode. Oh my goodness. I think it's a bit of a short episode tonight because it's just the three of us and the people watching live. But man, we had some fun. All kinds of hashtags coming out of this one.
Yeah.
But we've reached the time of the show where I get to say, okay, panel, let's take one last trip around this table and get some final thoughts. I'm kind of scared. Before we shut off the lights, John Ruyak.
Yeah, I've kind of gone off on some tangents on this the last couple of weeks, but I just want to tell you a quick little story about something that actually happened today that was kind of cool. So, it was kind of a light day at the brewery, and I did a couple things, and I knew we had a grain order coming in, so I was rearranging some of our older, first in, first out, making sure that a couple of bags of grain were placed in the right place so that I would use them first next time I go to brew, which was probably tomorrow. And when we get our grain order every month, it comes in a big pallet, and if you're on the tavern, you saw that 2,400-pound pallet at the back door, and I unloaded it all by myself in 23 minutes. Yeah, put up over a ton of grain in 23 minutes. But one of the coolest things is that Brewery Services Group, whenever they put that pallet together, they send me a little thank you. And that little thank you is a Pearson nut roll, which is kind of like a payday. Mm-hmm. It's got nougat, and it's just got a bunch of peanuts stuck to it. And it's a cheap ass snack. It's two for $1, but you know what? It's the little things in life that are important. So I was really looking forward to that today, but while I was rearranging those other bags, I found the nut roll from the last order that I didn't find. It was stuck in between two bags of pale ale grain from Gambrinus in Canada. And I'm like, sweet! It's like a double treat, man. I was rearranging those bags of grain and I found that nut roll and I ate it. And then when the grain order came in, I found the new one and I ate that one too. It was a good day.
Yeah, sure. You sure duple stooped that nut roll. Jeff Solomon.
Oh God, all I can think is like, for the next Patreon that joins up, John Ruyak sending you his personal nut roll.
and there's another potential title for the show.
Personal nut roll.
John's oh my God. I know we have fans with peanut allergies too, so please let us know if that's the case.
Is that all you got?
Yes.
Stop the music or anything?
No. Would you like me to sing you a song? I'll do it just for you. What do you want me to say?
I don't know. John's rambling was so long that I'm either going to have to edit the song or I need somebody to stop the music.
No, I'll tell you what happened.
Okay.
I went in for a dentist appointment last week, and my dentist kicks ass. Like they always have like Pandora for me, and they remember like what station, and they give me my headphones and everything, and I'm a child of I was born in 1978, but I'm really a child of the 90s, and so I always listen to the 90s alternative station, and she's going to do my checkup, and she goes, yeah, for some reason I can't find the 90s station. I'm like, anything that says like, alternative or even like 90s pop, whatever, that's fine. And she's like, oh, I think I found something. And it turned out to be a Green Day karaoke album. I'm like, I'm from the Bay Area. I love Green Day, but a Green Day karaoke album is the fucking most monotonous shit you've ever heard in your life. So I stopped like mid face jabbing and I said, excuse me, I refuse to listen to a Green Day karaoke album while you're jamming shit in my teeth.
Bring the music back. And with that, I'll say thanks again for joining us at the We Like Drinking podcast,
where you'll never drink alone.
The fuck?
Methyl Ethel and Christy, thank you so much for hanging out, awesome. and thank you for the comments the whole time. This was awesome. It's really fun when it feels like we're actually playing to like a real audience. And I know we get a lot of downloads, but normally we just do this for ourselves. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thank you. We really appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
Methyl would love to be in my head for a day. So would I. So would I.
Something I literally never thought I would hear somebody say. All right. Peace out, everybody.
Later, guys.